All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the ONFORM podcast. I am your host, Roman, and we are very, very excited to be here. I think I fixed my audio issues from last week, but very, very excited to honestly chat with you guys again with these upcoming week's fixtures. I'm seeing that we already got people in the chat here. Dan saying it's good to be a Liverpool fan. Love how United said we wouldn't survive Klopp because of their own failure, but we are a top club who are used to excellence. And it's true, man. I have to be honest. I thought there would be a little bit of a lull. I feel like it felt like, at least, that. Thank you. Hey, Reese, my man. Audio sounds good. Phenomenal. I fixed it, baby. I fixed it. And yeah, I mean, I have to be honest. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a lull. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a maybe a month, not a month, maybe a year or 2 years before we bounced back and got to those levels. Because when you look at it, when you look at so many of these other clubs and where there was leadership that, took a step away, and after long reigns, like you look at Arsene Wenger, you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, you even look at Jose Mourinho, right? To a degree with Chelsea. Um, all of those clubs took a long time to kind of get back to where they needed to be. Less so Chelsea, obviously, because they had Roman Abramovich, who was really the main guy in this whole entire thing, right? But if you just historically look back at so many of these iconic clubs who've had larger than life managers, who've had managers that have achieved some amazing things, usually the predecessor or the successor, sorry, um, they fail. So the fact that Arne Slot is in Liverpool as a whole, the organization as a whole, I don't think all credit can go to Arne, but I think a lot of credit does go to Arne, of course. That it's almost unbelievable, right? And I think that's why so many fans, it's hard for us to really believe and truly understand what potentially is happening right now, right? Where we could be going into another golden age of football for Liverpool off the back of an already good, spell of time that we've had under Jurgen Klopp. It could be even better, right? And it's so rare that clubs continue to build off of what was built before. So many times the next guy comes in and tears down. And I think that's why it's so impressive from Arne that he's been able to come in, take the exact same players, right? For the most part, the only player that's really changed in this whole thing is Federico Chiesa, right? And he's barely played. He's played like 10 minutes for the squad. This is a largely unchanged Liverpool team that he's been able to continue to build off of what Klopp did, Pep did, right? And make it even better and continue to grow it, right? So it's nothing to kind of, take for granted, I guess. And then Reese says, speaking of Slot, I love how measured and even keel this guy is, but I was happy to see genuine Klopp like frustration come out on Sunday. Shows how much he cares. And it's true. It's true. It's true, man. I think that maybe was the one thing that was a little bit missing from Jurgen Klopp's side as well, is that so many times it was a very emotional, it was a lot of energy, it was a lot of vibes, where Arna is more calculated, he's more precise. It's almost like a Rafa Benitez. And then I'm seeing Dan make this comment. It's so true. Since Shankly promoted Liverpool, we haven't had a decade without a trophy. And bringing up Shankly and Paisley, it's like a Shankly to Paisley kind of relationship where we had one manager that was very emotional, very get in behind these players and fire them up, and hugs all around, g them up. And then the next manager is more quiet, reserved, calculated, assassin-like almost, right? And I think it's like a second coming of those two, where Klopp is the predecessor to Slot's legacy that he's potentially going to be able to build with this Liverpool side. I absolutely love this man, Arne Slot. I love him. I love the way he carries himself. I love the way he interviews. I love how quick-witted he is. It's just there's like a charm to this guy. And the fact that he's gone under the radar for so many clubs for so long. I mean, I know Tottenham was in for him a couple seasons before they got Ange and he turned them down. I just don't know how more clubs just didn't see this guy coming, man. He is a very good manager. And I think Liverpool, for lack of for no pun intended, right, hit the lottery. We hit the lottery with Arne Slot, right? It's been a jackpot so far, and I really hope that it continues and continues on with Arne, because we're in such a good way. The players are happy. The It seems like the staff is happy. The stars are happy, right? Um, Salah wants to sign a new contract. VVD looks like his is going to be wrapped up soon. Trent has been vocal about his priority being Liverpool and wanting to be the captain, right? It's a good time to be a Liverpool fan, like what you said, Dan. It's a good time to be a Liverpool fan. And then Reese, cheeky in the post game interview too. It's true. It's almost Zlatan like, right? It's not too cocky, but it's just cocky enough, right? Where it's like, that was clever. And it's not like, over the board Jose Mourinho style or Cristiano Ronaldo style. It's right on that edge where you're just like, I liked that. I liked the way you answered that. That had some cheek to it. So I think he's the one, guys. I really do. And if you watch that last video that we did, that I did, reacting to the game, and I was on the go traveling for work. Sorry that one came out a little bit later than typical, but I mean, I think he is the guy that we need to really set up this whole thing for success, man. I really do. And I just absolutely love this man and what he's been able to do with this Liverpool side. I cannot complain at all. So that's what we cracking off this baby as. But Fidel came in, and I think he's gonna be out today. He's a long supporter of the channel, but he had a couple questions here waiting for us. But getting this in early, I think Sunday was a tactical masterclass from Slot. Chelsea's biggest threat all season has been counters and transitions, and we stopped them from doing that on both goals, right? Yeah, I think it's true. And I think if any other day, it would have been a 3-0, 4-0 win for us, honestly. If we go back and actually look at that game, we let them have 2 chances, guys. 2. I looked back at the stats. Chelsea got 2 chances. The most free scoring side in the Premier League right now got 2 chances. And by the way, our XG, I also saw another one. Our XG is the highest in the league. This is a stat for you guys. Liverpool FC's XG, expected goals, is the highest in the league. And then our expected goals against are the lowest in the league. We are number 1 in both of those categories. So for the supporters or the fans that are saying, I didn't like that display, it was a little sloppy, any other team would have got us. Well, according to the stats and according to AI and according to the computers, actually, no. Actually, no. Actually, we actually are dominating these teams if we're looking at the numbers and the stats and things like that. We do a really good job. This Liverpool side has done a really good job of making it look more competitive than it is, just because we're not ramming the ball down people's throats anymore, Jurgen Klopp style, right? Which is kind of crazy when you even think about it. Look up those stats. It's actually kind of crazy when you look at it. You're just like, wait, hold on. What's going on with this Liverpool side? Another stat that I thought was very interesting. Darwin Núñez has put in more tackles than Declan Rice has, successful tackles than Declan Rice has this season, and won the ball back more than Declan Rice. Is it time to put him in midfield? Is this a Joelinton experiment that we got going on? No, I think Darwin actually could maybe benefit from playing a false 9 role, which he kind of played a little bit in that game, in this past game, and played very well. Beautiful passing. I always thought he was a good passer, by the way. He gets a lot of assists, mainly for Mo Salah. He's a good passer, and he had some beautiful flicks and things like that. And he's big and he's strong. What would you not want that in a false nine kind of midfielder attacking role? Maybe that is his role in the future, right? We'll see what ends up happening there. But there was some fruitful stuff there. Fidel also said scored. Full credit to Maresca for a solid game plan. Very clever first 15 minutes, keeping the ball at the back and refusing to pass into the DMs to stop any pressing. And quieting the crowd down was superb. I think that was more so our midfield, actually. I think that was our midfield keeping the ball from them, dude. But we were definitely, and then down to more recent comments, Dan Wood said we were definitely good for a couple years now. Our only worry is that first attacking rebuild, but obviously we weren't there yet. True. And Klopp handled that well and rebuilt the team. And then this is the newest version of Liverpool. There's no rebuilding needed from Arne, right? We just reloaded before Klopp left, which I think a lot of people forget. And then John Elliott said, chalk and cheese, man. There are very different managers, but I still think we haven't seen the best yet. But so far, so good. For sure. 100%. Very similar type of moment, not similar manager styles, I think, with Paisley and Shankly and Klopp and Slot. Obviously not similar management styles and tactics. It's modern football versus, earlier stages of football or years and years ago, right? But I think it's a similar moment, right? But Dan Wood, doesn't Liverpool have the best defense now? We do. And exactly. We do have the best defense, and we have statistically the best attack in the league as well when it comes to expected goals. And then Reese said, I'm normally hard on Saab, and his on-ball play makes me want to pull my hair out, but he deserves a massive credit for locking down Palmer in one half and then Lavia in the second half. Yep. He has an unthanked role, and I know I promised you guys an analytic breakdown. I used to do those a lot for the channel. I'm gonna do one for Sabo because I feel like more people need to understand what he's actually doing on the field. I like to look at the numbers and stuff like that. I'll go to Opta and all those things, and I'll kind of do a breakdown of what's actually going on and actually happening on field for some of these players. Sabo is one of those guys. I think he's number one in distance covered in our squad. I think he's number one in ball recoveries as well. And I think he's number one in minutes as well for our team. Like he plays the most minutes and out of everyone in our squad right now. I know Jordan Henderson gets a lot of flack for this, but he's like our modern Jordan Henderson, right? Like Jordan gets so much shit for like his style of play and the way that he does things. But if you played, you love a teammate like Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson is your best friend if you play football, right? A guy like Sabo is even better best friend because he has the work engine like a Hendo. You know he's going to be there, and you know he's going to be a second line of defense for you. Because I played DM and I played right back, and having an attacking midfielder come back and help do the dirty work instead of just hang out near the top and wait for the ball, dude, they're worth their weight in gold. Not only on top of that, he also can have a pop at goal and create as well. I think he's pretty high up there in assists as well for our team this season. Let me look at his stats really quick. I think his assists are some of the best in the team as well this season. So, well, he has 3. No, he has 2 this season already. Okay, so it's not great, but I know he's doing well for Hungary and stuff like that. Or chances created was the stat, but he has a lot to offer still, and I think with some proper coaching with Arne Slot, I think he's gonna dial it in, guys. I really do. I think there's a player there in Sabo, which I think the player is playing. I think we have the best midfield 3 in the Premier League right now. My personal opinion. I think with Maka, Sabo, and Gravenberch, who would you say has a better midfielder? Who would you say has a better midfield right now in the Premier League than our 3? I'll wait all day. And who would you replace that midfield 3 with? Jones is in the mix now, right? Who would you replace those 4 midfielders with in world football that is actually available and is attainable right now. I don't think you can with very many, right? And then Jones, huge with progressing the ball on the day where Gravenberg's getting spied all day. Exactly. And I think that was maybe a part of the tactics with Slot because he knew that that was going to end up happening. Now that Ryan is getting so much attention in the media, you knew that Chelsea was going to be targeting him. So he put another ball carrier in there in Jones, who was phenomenal with his close control in midfield and was able to wiggle out of tight spaces, very Maka-esque, right? While Maka rested and he didn't play a lot of his South American players or just played them in the second half, right? But yeah, it's interesting. Saab is a crime scene cleaner. I get it now. Not quite what we were promised from him coming in, but he plays his current function at an elite level. It's true. And I get it. The edits, the highlight videos, him banging in free kicks from all over the place, him smashing in long distance goals, dribbling into the box. That isn't what the team needs right now. I think that's coming, and I think that's what Slot eventually wants from him. But I think Slot wants him first to press and to cover and then do that. And Coach Koo is a very good example of that because he was that role for Arne Slot when Coach Koo played for him, where he was able to kind of do both, right? He was able to be almost like a box-to-box 8 cleanup in the midfield, snatch balls off of players, and then bang in long-distance goals, hit free kicks. They're actually in a very similar mold if you look up Coach Koo and when he was playing for Feyenoord. They play a very similar role. I believe Sabo has the physical attributes to play that role, and we'll see what ends up happening. But remember that time Gary Neville said Klopp would swap midfields with United? That is a fucking joke, bro. And the thing is, so many people were disrespecting this team. I don't know if you guys remember this, but so many people were disrespecting this Liverpool team when in late last season, saying this will be the best coaching job that we've seen since Sir Alex Ferguson if they end up winning the league or if they end up winning something. Since Sir Alex Ferguson's last season, this is a team that is overachieving. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Since when was Maka not one of the best midfielders in the world? Since when, you know what I mean? Like, since when, and who was in there playing with him? Endo was playing with him and was playing his ass off during this time, right? And Sabo was in there, and Elliott was starting to come into form and have some of his best form. Since when was Elliott not one of the most promising young midfielders in England? Since when was Sabo not billed as like the next Steven Gerrard when he first came in at that time? I know he was in a rough spell then. Like, what happened there? Why was this Liverpool team being so disrespected last time? And I was one of the ones to say that Klopp could potentially do something special with this team. And I think we were in the full-blown mix of potentially winning this thing last season. And it was just a lapse in judgment in some of the picking and stuff like that. And I feel like we should have had another title last season, but that's neither here nor there. And then Reese, we talked about this a few weeks ago in the comment section, but I love how Jones is getting forward after dumping off the ball, mainly to Gakpo. Jones probably has another goal in this game ahead. Game had right, and I've been saying week after week after week, we need to get Curtis Jones as close to the goal as possible. I think he is a better attacking player than he is a box-to-box midfielder, and I still stand by that. And I think Arne sees that now because Jones has been popping up in and around the box, right? In and around the box more, and so much so in that Chelsea game, right? Where he got the penalty and he also got the goal. So I love it. I love the movement off the box. I love his close control. I want him to keep doing those things. Less of the box-to-box stuff. That's Maka's bag. Maka is like one of the best in the world at doing that. I think he's better at just getting forward, carrying the ball. And I know this is a terrible comparison, but Andre Iniesta-like, right? Xavi was the box-to-box guy for him, right? Sergio Busquets was the DM, the Regista kind of in that mold. where Iniesta was allowed to carry the ball, be still deeper in the midfield, right? Carry the ball forward, be dangerous in and around the box, create situations, draw fouls, in that type of mold. Am I saying that Curtis Jones is Iniesta level? Hell no, of course. But in those types of mold, I think that Curtis plays the best, right? And then Mr. Stand-Up Guy, welcome in, my boy. Good to see you. Good to see you. And then Dan said, love that players are playing hungry for Slot. And that, I think that's one of the big things for sure that I think is the difference between the end of last season and this season, is that the players look hungry. The players look like they want this thing bad, and they want to prove. It's like they have something to prove, right? It feels a little bit different than last season. I feel like the players stopped caring almost towards the end of Klopp's spell, and they stopped wanting to run through a wall for him. And I don't know if that was the announcement of him leaving, but I feel like the energy just kind of dropped after that Carabao Cup, and we stopped wanting it bad. These players look like they want it bad again. And then Mr. Stand-Up says, Arne is a cerebral man, knows how to play chess, moving pieces in the right places in the right moments. It's true, because sometimes players will play a certain position the first half of the game, and then the second half of the game, they start taking up different positions. I've noticed that mainly with Maka. He does that a lot with Maka. He'll change the way that Maka is interacting on the field, on the ball. When the ball moves into certain places, Maka will drop deep into pockets, or he'll move more forward and play like the way that Jones was playing in this Chelsea game this past week. So it's good stuff, man. I love Arne. I love what he's doing with this team. Long may it continue. I hope that it continues to just get better and better for this Liverpool side. But I don't see where it stops, right? I don't see where this Liverpool team, they drop off and we say, it was a matter of time. Because I think the next game we win. I think we beat Arsenal. I think the main games that we really need to worry about, in my personal opinion, are the Brighton games. And really, the Champions League fixtures is what I'd say is the most challenging. And then when the City games come, we deal with that when the City game comes. Those are like isolated events. Those are events that are just like, you got to take that in the moment. You can't think about that far in advance. None of that kind of stuff. Like, you got to take that like in stride. I think we worry about Arsenal, which I think we get past them next week, and then worry about these Champions League fixtures. But Mr. Stand-Up says, inertia kicked in with Klopp. It's like any long-term relationship. Yep, it's true. They say familiarity breeds contempt, right? That's a saying that a lot of them say, that once you're with someone for so long, you find a way to just like kind of dislike them, or not dislike them, but just kind of get sick of them, get tired of them. And then Reese said, 50 thereabout, Slot had them start sending the ball at the 50th minute. Slot had them send the ball deep, Klopp style, and then it was a great adjustment, created good space to work between the Chelsea backline and Lavia and Caicedo. Yeah, I mean, we were knocking it long and fighting for second balls more so than we've ever done in any other game, right? So I know a lot of people say, well, Slot has a style of play. Slot is very adaptable. He would like to build from the back. He would like to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 passes before the ball hits the back of the net, but he's also still able to coach a team into playing a different style of play that adjust in better plays against the opponent that they're playing against. He's competent. He's a competent manager that isn't stuck in his ways, which I think Klopp is a little bit guilty of, the latter of that, of being stuck in his ways. Klopp is a supremely competent manager, but Klopp would have a hard time tactically changing the way that we go about things. It was gegenpress, it was rock and roll or die, right? It was rock and roll or nothing. And it took Pep Linders begging him to invert Trent, to where we started getting a little bit more joy when Trent inverted. which I think opened up a whole nother bag of issues with the high line and inverting your wide back and all of that kind of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. And you're seeing some of those problems with Pep Linders in RB Salzburg. If you guys are following them, they're having a tough time adjusting to the high line. A lot of teams are getting in behind them and they're leaking goals like nobody's business, similar to how Liverpool used to leak goals, right? So it's a balance that you have to find, and not every player can play the Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders style heavy metal, right? Not every player. It takes a unique player and a unique mindset, and I think Pep is figuring that out, and he's learning from that in this Salzburg stint. But Dan Wood, we got better. We got the better Dutchman. I really hope we get Arsenal while they're wounded, and we do. And I expect us to, even if they were at full strength. I still think we do get a result out of that. Now that they have almost all of their key players out right now, I think we actually may run away with that win. I think Arne Slot style it competes well with Arteta style. The way that Arteta's playing right now, we have trouble with a Chelsea style type of team. Arne Slot's style doesn't bode well with a Chelsea style team. Free flowing, front to back type of play, very dangerous on the counter, fast in transition. That's what our style is kind of weak on. They're Arsenal. They're playing like Stoke, a good looking Stoke, the Stoke of models, the model Stoke, right? Where all their players are good looking, but they're all are just resorting to silly tactics. It's dumb. It's so dumb the way that Arteta is building set up his team, and to go 4 years, 5 years without a trophy. Mm, there might be some changes in London if things don't go their way this season and they win something, right? So we'll see what happens. Mr. Standup says, we are so fortunate to also have the three best Dutch players playing under a Dutch manager who clearly knows how to man manage and get the best out of his boys. Very true. This is the best I think that we've seen VVD in a long time. It's the best that we've seen Ryan Gravenberch ever, and that's including the Ajax days. And we're getting the best out of Cody Gakpo that we've ever had in our side. I still think he has another level to go. If we're going to go back to his PSV days, he was unplayable when he was playing for PSV, right? In that first World Cup. Or I think, yeah, in that first World Cup when we bought him, right? So I think there's still more to come from those guys. And not to mention, he's getting the most out of Lucho, who is on fire this season, right? For club and country. And then Nick Smith says, worried Arsenal play at home tonight and we play in Germany tomorrow night, so they have an extra day and no traveling. That's true. Um, I think we should be okay though. We play on Saturday against Arsenal. No, I think we should be okay. Because that it's true, but they still wounded, is what I would say. They're still wounded. Yeah, Cody definitely still has a gear. He has another gear. More to come for Cody, and I think he will eventually take that starting spot from Lucho. I think he just has a higher ceiling from Lucho, but Lucho is just in such a good way right now. It's hard to justify dropping him, right? So, um, but yeah, let's jump into who's on form and who's out of form this week, right? Like we typically do. Great stuff, by the way, from you guys. Um, I would say out of form for this week, we're going to go with Arsenal. Did you know it? Could you predict it? Out of form. We're gonna start out of form this week, then we'll do on form. Arsenal. Arsenal out of form. Silly red card from Saliba. I don't know how he thinks that that's a good idea to just drag the last man down. I don't care how far he is from the goal. I know they recently changed this rule. I don't care how far you are from the goal. If you are the last man and you drag the runner down from a clear shot into goal, it's a red card. You are stopping a goal scoring opportunity. You're stopping a goal scoring chance. You just are. You just are. So for me, that's a red card. And they're in a bad way. And then we're seeing 1-0 Dortmund. Ooh. 1-0 Dortmund, guys. And that's another thing that I want to bring up. We're facing Madrid at the right time, y'all. We're facing Madrid at the right time. Like, I know the fixture list looks scary. I think the scariest side is the side we're playing tomorrow. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I think that our toughest run in is probably going to be the side that we're facing tomorrow, which is Leipzig. I think it's going to be Leipzig. That's going to be our toughest run. And I see Arsenal score. They're playing Shakhtar. They should win that game. They should beat Shakhtar. I hope they do beat Shakhtar. But Dortmund being 1-0 up against Madrid, that's huge. That's huge. And Madrid haven't really been in a good way since bringing in Mbappe. It's very, very weird what's going on in Madrid. They just are not able to just kind of dial it in terms of what they need to do. I know they're still undefeated, but like they just don't look impressive, like all the way impressive. And right now it's just such a good time to be facing Madrid. It just is. They're trying to figure out how are we going to fit Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, and Jude Bellingham, and Fede Valverde, who's our runner, into this team. They got to figure it out. And I think we beat them, bro. I don't know if I'm the optimistic, delusional Liverpool fan. In my heart, I'm a little nervous, but in my mind, I'm just like, I think we can beat this team. They haven't looked great. It's kind of like Man City. They're playing like Man City right now, right? Where Man City haven't looked phenomenal this season, but they're undefeated somehow. But somehow they still kind of look beatable. You know what I mean? I think Madrid is in the same way right now. But we'll see. The game isn't over. I think there's definitely going to be some more twists and turns in that one. Definitely, let's keep an eye on it as we're on this thing. And see how what happens if they lose to Dortmund. Let's see. And then Mr. Stand-Up Guy, Madrid having an embarrassment of riches and don't know how to get their front line in order. I knew Mbappe would need time to settle. If it wasn't already broke, he can't really fix it. That's a very good point, which I think a lot of people really don't. That's not clocking for a lot of people, right? Where Madrid was already in a great way, coming off of a Champions League win, doing something so historic, team fit and firing, Jude Bellingham having a Ballon d'Or type of season, Vinny Jr. having a Mickey Mouse Ballon d'Or type of season, Fede having a phenomenal season, Tchouaméni, Camavinga had a breakout season, you got Arda Güler having a breakout season, you got all these players. Tony Cruz having a phenomenal season. Modric has done another phenomenal season. Backline clicking and humming. Why bring in another piece to that when everything's already lined up? If anything, they should have spent money on trying to get a right back, right? And trying to get some wide backs to complete the team, right? Too many individuals in Madrid. It's true. There's too many individuals. And they said, and then Vinny's like, oh, no, it's all good. It's all love between me and Mbappe. And Rodrigo said the same thing, but we're seeing something different now. And we're finding out that Jude maybe is not a midfielder, right? We're finding out that Jude, maybe his best position is a forward. Maybe they already had, 2-0 Dortmund. No way. No way. No way. Are we serious? Jamie Binu Gittins, bro, he's one I've been looking at, just so you guys know. And he actually popped up in a rumor for us recently. Dude, I like Jamie. I like Jamie a lot. He's one that we've been keeping an eye on as an heir to Salah. I like Jamie. 2-0 Dortmund. That's insane. Alonso will be at Madrid next season, mark my words. 100%. We're happy with Arne. The only other place that I feel like he could go is Madrid, especially because Bayern Munich is probably going to win another Bundesliga title with Kompany. Why get rid of Kompany and bring in Xabi Alonso? It doesn't make sense for Bayern to do that. Really, the only place that Xabi goes is Madrid. That's the only place that really makes sense for Xabi to go. 2-0. Jamie Bino Gittins. Keep your eye out for that kid. He's a beast. Yup. Dortmund avenging last season's final. Hell yeah, baby. Dortmund are my dark horses along with Brest. Yes. I hear they're having a really good season. I'm hearing that Stuttgart is actually having a good season too. As well as RB Leipzig, right? In the Bundesliga, but we'll see. But in terms of like the Champions League, we'll see what Brest can do. Dortmund look good in the Champions League, not so much in the Bundesliga, but in the Bundesliga, I'm hearing RB Leipzig is like one of the better teams this season. Yep, level on points with Bayern, and they're the team that scares me the most. They're the team that scares me the most in this run because they have Benjamin Sesko, they have Opinda, and Xavi Simmons is cooking this season, right? Xavi at City would make me ill. Oh fuck. Nah, dude. Ooh, City in for Alonso. That would be interesting. That's actually another opening there, dude. I didn't even think about that, Dan. I didn't even think about that. City would be an option for Xabi Alonso. Do you think Xabi would actually do that to us? Let me know. Do you think Xavi would actually do that to us? I think they might. I think he might, man. He could potentially do it. I don't know. Where does Xavi go? Thought I can't see Alonso managing a third division team next season if FFP do their job legitimately. I have a feeling they're not going to do their job. I'm sorry. I have a feeling they're not going to do their job. I think I think City is going to get away with it somehow, some way. They'll be fined. It'll be like some sort of Mickey Mouse out, bruh. I think they'll be docked points. And I don't think they'll be relegated though. I think they'll be docked points and fined, but I don't think that they'll be relegated. I think they'll be like docked it'll be like 20 points or something like that, but at the start of next season. So they'll be like -20 at the start of next season. I can see that happening. I don't think they'll do it this season. I don't think they'll dock the points immediately like they did Everton last season. I think there'll be some sort of like Mickey Mouse out for Man City. And there's a potential that Xabi Alonso could be the manager there. And if Xabi Alonso's the manager there, expect Martin Zubamendi to have a blue shirt on next season too. I think City avoids relegation, but it gets messy enough where Pep leaves. Pep ain't got time for all this shit. It's true. I think Pep's leaving regardless this season. I think this is going to be his last season regardless. I think his next phase is international football. I can see him managing the Spanish national team. I can see him managing Brazil. Weirdly enough, they really need a manager right now. I can totally see that being his next phase. He's conquered football already. He doesn't really need to do any club level stuff. I can see him going to the MLS and doing like one last hurrah in the MLS and dominating America too. I see him, he's like in America a lot, New York, Boston. He loves those areas and things like that. So we'll see what ends up happening with Pep Guardiola, but I don't think he stays on past this season for sure. Pep Guardiola doesn't stay on past this season. He won't manage Spain, no way. We'll see, dude. I don't know. I feel like that one's like an obvious one, though. If he were ever to go to international football, I think Spain would be one. Pep gets lured to Spain by mountains and paella. Yeah, I think that definitely is a possibility. Apparently, the paella is really good, and the mountains are very beautiful there. But let's keep an eye on that Dortmund game. We're in a good way, baby. And I think we beat the brakes off of Salzburg tomorrow. I saw that comment. I don't. I think it's going to be a tough game. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun watch for sure. He is Catalan and has issues with Spain. And because they never backed him when he had a doping scandal. I know that. But his players just have such a rich history with Spain with PK, with Xavi, with Iniesta, Busquets, all of these players that he's helped kind of come through the ranks. I can see them putting it aside for this because I feel like he wants to win a World Cup before he retires. Then that would make him the undisputed GOAT. You couldn't argue with that. If Guardiola gets a World Cup before the end of it, it's over. It's over, guys. There isn't a better manager in history than him. The argument just won't be there. I mean, I know we love Klopp a lot, but just the accolades would just be too overwhelming if he's able to win a World Cup with a team. It'll be a top team for sure. But I thought it was going to be England, but we'll see what happens. But keep an eye on that Dortmund game. As for the other out of form teams for this round, we're going to go with let's go with Newcastle. I feel like Newcastle. I don't know if you can go with Newcastle because I rate Brighton highly. I do. I rate Brighton highly, and I don't know. Yeah, let's go with Newcastle. They're in eighth, dude. I don't know what's going on there. And after having such a good start to the season, they're kind of on the spin right now, right? They haven't had a win in their last 4 matches. It's been a tough go for Newcastle in these past this past month, and we'll see if Eddie Howe can bounce back. I don't think he's the guy for the job for them. I think it's another one of those situations where it's good manager, right? Good manager, bad team. Good manager, bad team. So we'll see what ends up happening with them. Um, the other team that's going to be out of form for me, it's got to be Wolves. Still haven't gotten a win this season. It's going to be a tough go for them, dude. Dude, it'll be 3-0 Liverpool tomorrow. I'll be back to have you apologize. Okay, I bet. Dude, I hope I am apologizing to you. I really hope I am apologizing to you tomorrow because I don't know. I just kind of don't see it. This Leipzig team is very good. It's one of the best teams in the Bundesliga right now. And you know, it's hard to really bet against them. They look good. I'm rating Villa on the low. They've been doing all right. They have, bruh. And they're one of the teams that I said was going to be the dark horses this season. Them and Brighton. And I said this in the beginning, and I'm going to freaking toot my own horn here a little bit. I said this in the beginning that Villa and Brighton are ones that we need to look out for, man. They're the ones that we got to look out for because they're on the rise. And those are my two teams that are in the on-form category, as well as us, is Aston Villa and Brighton. I mean, and I'm looking at these. Damn, how many red cards did we have this past week? God damn, bro. But it'll be a tough game for sure, especially if we rotate. I don't think we rotate. If it's 4-0 to Liverpool, dude, I will say sorry to everybody that I doubted that I said Liverpool would maybe doubt, or I doubted Liverpool. I'll say sorry. I'll do a public apology for everybody. I don't think we're going to lose. I think it's just going to be a tough game. But if we blow them out of the water, I will publicly have an apology and say, I'm sorry, Arne Slot. I was not familiar with your game. I will say it. But they look good this season. I think they'll be the toughest in this run out of everybody, including against Madrid and Leverkusen, who I don't believe is in the same way that they were last season, right? But Slot's game management at certain situations is unrivaled currently. Agree on the Villa and Brighton objective. Yeah, Villa and Brighton are they're on a roll today. They're in my on form category. Um, they're just finding ways to win, man. Good, solid, tactically intelligent managers putting together solid teams quietly, right? With players that nobody was really were eyeing and nobody really knows about. And I have those two fighting for a top 4 spot this year, dude. I do. I do. I see Brighton and Villa both sneaking in. I wouldn't be surprised if if they sneak in. If the top four is Liverpool, City, Villa, Brighton, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And you can quote me there, and you can come back at the end of the season, but we'll see. What's happening with Chiesa? Is he still our player? I was gonna bring that up, guys. It's not looking good, bro. The last I saw of Chiesa was deadline day. It's not looking good, bro. It's not. Oh man. I don't know what's going on with Chiesa. I defended this man with my chest when he signed him. I said, "Oh, he's not going to have any injury issues. You know, the last time he had any injury problems, it was a year ago. He's not injury prone." Fuck, bro. I don't know no more, man. I don't know. What's up, Brian? How you doing, brother? I don't know about Chiesa anymore. My boy came has played 10 minutes for Liverpool and he's been out 3 weeks, bruh. Don't tell me the Italian curse is back, bruh. Don't tell me. I'm uh I'm hoping he makes a recovery pretty quickly because these games are gonna be coming thick and fast. We're gonna need cover for for Mo for sure. But I don't know anymore. I defended him because of the price. Me too, bruh. Me too. And Liverpool don't have luck with Italian players. We don't. The Italian curse is real, bro. The injuries are starting to pile up, not just for Chiesa. It's true. I uh I think I made a post about that. How many people that are out right now. But luckily it's a lot of our players that we have pretty good cover for. So we shouldn't see too many of the effects on that. Let's see. Let's look at our injury list real quick. We got Harvey Elliott out, who was supposed to be back for this Chelsea game. But I heard that he might be out for another 4 weeks. I heard that through the grapevine. I hope that's not true. Allison Becker is going to be out for maybe a month or two. We know that, which I'm not worried about, mainly because we have Queeming Callagher, who is not too many levels beneath Allison. Chiesa we know is out. We do not know when he's going to return. Slot said it was a slight problem. He should have been back, I think, 2 weeks ago. It's been 2 weeks since. We're not sure. Diogo Jota, I think, is having some rib issues. We don't know when that's going to be back. We know running with ribs is something that's not easy. Connor Bradley also missed training as well. The only one that really worries me is something happens to Trent. We really don't have a whole ton of cover in that right back area. I mean, we do have Joe Gomez, who can pretty much play anywhere, right? Which I'm glad he ended up deciding to stay, because we're definitely going to need him. It's the injury list is getting a little long, and it's not. Unfortunately, it's not the training staff's fault for a lot of these ones. A lot of these were in-game injuries, right? Elliott's was an in-game injury over the international break. Allison Becker was the same thing. Jota was the same thing. The only two really is Chiesa and Connor Bradley, who kind of got injured in training. So it's fucked up, but we'll see. Slot today at the presser was like, Chiesa didn't have an off season, and that's a great non-answer. Reese, thank you, bro. Thank you. It's probably just fitness problems. I don't think they said it's an actual injury. Yeah, they haven't said anything. They haven't really said anything around it of what specifically is going on with him. He might just be having, like, taking it easy and just trying to kind of get back up to pace in the intensity of the Premier League. We'll have to see what happens, but like what Reese says, Slot hasn't done a really fun, like really great job of really telling us what's going on with Federico. I hope he just is able to bounce back soon. Slot is coping with that Chiesa comment. That's real cope for real, bro. He's like, nah, we made a good signing. We made a good signing. Yeah, imagine if he had left. I know if Joe Gomez left, we'd be all the way cooked right now. If we actually sent him to Newcastle for Gordon, one, that would have been such a weird signing given that we had already signed Chiesa. But I know that Gordon deal was in the mix for a long time, and maybe we wouldn't have signed Chiesa if that Gordon and Gomez deal would have went through. But then we would have been light at the back, right? And then maybe we wouldn't have sold Sepp Vandenberg to Brentford if that deal went through. Who knows, right? In a lot of those situation scenarios, Elliott was supposedly overheard on the sideline telling Sky that his projection is 4 weeks, but that was like a fan reporting, not an actual reporting. I saw that too, Reese. So if it's another 4 weeks, that would suck. I mean, he's walking around, no crutches or anything like that. He looks fine. So hopefully he gets back soon. Don't get me started on Allison. That's what I'm saying, bruh. Allison has somehow become injury prone, bruh. I don't know what the hell happened to this man. It was literally like last season, and then Allison just randomly was just like, oh yeah, I'm made of glass now. Like the best goalkeeper in the world in his prime right now. But I guess that's why FSG, well, not FSG, but Michael Edwards, he makes the signings that he does, and he brought GG in and to be competition for Allison because he knew Callagher was probably going to want to leave this coming season, which Callagher looks like he's probably going to leave this next season. So having GG in there, um, it's smart business now that we look back at it, right? The recruitment, I think recruitment might affect which league. Um, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Brian, but we will see. Hopefully, we do get some reinforcements in January if that's what you mean. But yep, it's 2-0 Madrid, right? 2-0 Dortmund versus Madrid right now. Halftime just hit. Now is the right time to be playing them, bro. I'm glad we get them in a couple weeks. Allison is the new Thiago. Allison gets calf injuries from trying to lace up his boots, right? Anytime he kicks the ball, that hamstring goes. That thing has been an issue for a long time, dude. So those are the injuries, man. It's not too bad. It's not anything that's like super duper crazy where we're just like, fuck, dude, what's gonna happen? Like, there goes our season. It would be great to have these guys. It's none of our major players outside of Allison, of course. But it's definitely something to consider, especially with this string of games that we're going in right now. Nunes staying fit is going to be important. Our midfield staying fit is going to be important. Maka, Sabo staying fit is going to be important, right? And our defense staying fit is going to be key. So everybody just please stay fit is really the crux of it all. He has been injured every season and it's getting more and more. The records don't lie. He is a concern, especially as a goalkeeper having outfield player issues. I did not know that if that's an actual stat. If Allison has actually had a string of absences in every season he's played for. It's very interesting because he's so good, it makes you like kind of forget some of that stuff. But I know I just started noticing it like last season when he was out for so long and Callagher was our number one, essentially, like for a good bulk of last season. So it's very interesting. And then what league will drive the recruitment? I mean, um, hmm, like where are we gonna get most of our signings from? Uh, I don't know. We'll see. I can see us going back to Portugal and getting Coach Ku. I can see us going to the Eredivisie and maybe good looking at Johan Bakayoko as a Salah replacement. I like him a lot. I can see us kind of shopping from anywhere, really. There's a lot of guys in Spain that I rate really highly that fly under the radar. Yeremy Pino is another one, is a big one. If you haven't heard of him before, he's a Villarreal forward. Um, Saudi Arabia is obviously one that's gonna help. That's gonna boost the. Oh fuck, dude, guys, I forgot. Uh, like the level of signings. Like, will UCL or EPL drive the quality and the price for our recruitment? Probably, right? There's a lot of teams in France right now that are so poor they'd give you a player for a ham sandwich. True. I mean, Lyon is a destination as well. Ryan Cherokee is one that I rate really highly that we could probably get for a good price. Bradley Barcaloa is another one at PSG, but they'll probably demand a lot for him. I want to be petty and get Zubamini just so City don't get him. Dan, I'm sorry, but I think probably is going to get Zubamendi, unfortunately. There's a world where Callagher is, or Mamardashvili is Callagher's deputy, and I'm not super upset by it. There is a world where that's possible. Because I think Callagher is at that level of Gigi Mamardashvili. I think so. I think so. And I think I can see both of them battling it out for that number one spot if we decide to part ways with Allison in the summer and he decides to go somewhere else or whatever it might be, right? I can see that. Because I can't say that Gigi is that much better than Quimine, right? To where you say, it's obviously Gigi. You can't really say that when you're comparing Callagher to boom. My mic just went out, guys, didn't it? Swapping. We swapping. We swapping quick. There we go. Mic going out midstream is absolutely insane, but we are back, boys. We're back. We're back. I saw that. I have no idea why it did that. But we swapped out real quick and we're back again, baby. So let's go. Yep, that mic drop. But yeah, I can see that totally being a world, man. For sure. And if we recruit for EPL, you can go to Portugal and France. For UCL, then it's probably inside England or Spain. Those two leagues mostly cost a lot more versus Portugal and France. Which league is priority? I would probably say, I mean, just from the previous signings that we've had with Darwin Nunes, right, coming in, us shopping for Diaz in Portugal. I don't doubt we go shopping in Portugal again. I don't doubt that at all. There's Victor Gyökeres there. There's Diamande there, who's also plays for Sporting. There's that one Portuguese kid that we were in for. He was a left-footed center back, Inacio Goncalo Inacio. That's there, also at Sporting, who's very highly rated, very good. I can see us going back and shopping in Portugal. Coach Ku, like I've brought up multiple times. There's some good players in that league that I think a lot. I mean, they're attractive because you can get them at decent prices, and it's a little bit of a crapshoot, a little bit of a gamble with some of those players because the league isn't really up to the level that everyone else's is at, and a lot of the stats can be a little bit inflated. But I think there's players there for sure. There's players in the Eredivisie. There's Gerald Hato. Hato is a big one that, dude. If people don't know about Gerald Hato, please figure out who Gerald Hato is, bro. Please do. Take some time to look into that kid. He is special. I think he's 18 now, or was 17 to turn 18. Can play center back, is a great left back as well. And I'd be damn surprised if Arne Slot hasn't looked into that kid. He's good. But I'd give my limb for us to get Gyökeres. Me too, bro. I want us to keep Nunez and have Gyökeres in there, bro. That's what I would want. And then Mr. Standout, we just sold a good Portuguese to Brentford. True. True. But could you really say Carvalho is Portuguese? I mean, yes, he has Portuguese nationality, and his allegiance is with them in terms of the international football and things like that. But could you really say that he's like, oh, he has a British accent, right? Carvalho has a British accent, like he's from London, or if I'm not mistaken, no, and just has Portuguese Portuguese parents. Probably I prefer Germany for recruitment. Germany is a good one, especially. I mean, in the Klopp way, which is similar to the Slot way, obviously not as intense. It's good for pressing, right? A lot of those guys have a have the engine to play in this type of system. So I like Germany as well. There's a lot of good players in Germany. Merlin Roll is another one that I've brought up week after week, who I really like as well. So there's some talent all over the place, and as you can tell, I do a lot of research on a lot of these kids and a lot of these guys. So I can't say my mom is English, but the paperwork says otherwise. Right? Yeah, Carvalho has a Portuguese passport, but that boy is British. Let's be very very serious. Let's be very very honest. Accent and everything, bro. But I can't knock it though. He'd probably get a better chance in the Portuguese national team than the English national team. Maybe, maybe not. With Lee Carsley inside, as the manager, or was the manager for a little bit, caretaker manager, if you would say, he probably maybe could have got a call up if he would have just stuck it out. So we did get Bobby from Germany. We did. We got him from Hoffenheim. So there's talent there. There's talent all over Europe. And I'm surprised more teams aren't shopping in Spain. I think there's a lot of really good talent in Spain. Javi Guerra. There is Yermi Pino, like I mentioned before. There's Alberto Molero, who is a phenomenal talent, very very Iniesta like in his movement. Look up some of these guys. These guys are young Spanish players that are on the rise that don't play for Barcelona and don't play for Madrid, but just have a ton of potential, that I wouldn't be surprised make moves eventually. So very exciting with a lot of that stuff. We got Clavin from Germany too. Don't bring up Ragnar Clavin, please. Don't bring up Clavin. It's so hard to bring Spaniards out to LFC. It's true. We haven't signed a whole ton of them. Which maybe which why I think we should maybe go looking in places like Vigo and places like Mallorca and stuff like that. Like some of the smaller clubs that are willing to do deals with us, and maybe their young players aren't thinking of, oh, I want to make it to Barca, or oh, I want to make it to Madrid one day, right? So we'll see what happens with that. Gabri Viega was another one that I thought we for sure were gonna get. But he ended up going to the Saudi league, which is really weird, and we ended up buying Saboslai instead. Two players of a very similar mold, great distance shooting, great passing, great engine. That was one that I felt like got away, and I think he's wasting his time in Saudi Pro League, but it's whatever. But yeah, good chatting with you guys, man. You guys got my football ball brain just freaking humming, dude. But I okay, we're back. Am I back? I'm back. Oh, what? Oh, all right. Sound came back just for the outro, guys. Love you all. Thanks for sticking it out with me. It was a great chat today, seriously. And don't touch the mic. Do the outro. I got you. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. The ONFORM podcast. ONFORM podcast. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Of course, we're gonna have a reaction video for tomorrow for the game. Hey, we got to get this result. We get this result at Leipzig. I think we can cruise the rest of the Champions League group stages. And that sets us up for a great moment at Arsenal on the weekend. I'll see you guys in the next